Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick video from me just before the sun sets. Just finished watching Ahsoka, and I want to talk to you about that. And also, I have a little bit of new news in the TVC world. But, so if you don't want to know about Ahsoka or avoiding spoilers and all that, just, stop watching this now. But I'm personally finding it all really compelling, man. I'm really enjoying it. I've just set these figures up here just because, I don't know, man, I don't know how to describe it. We saw so much. This world between worlds gave us access to seeing, for me, it was eye candy. Beautiful to see the Clone Wars in live action, and it made me think of this figure of Anakin, not only because of the fact that it was this, we saw Anakin like this in battle. It was like such a bizarre take on doing time travel. It was just like, the world between worlds, and then this was our first battle. So she said that. It was a young Ahsoka with Anakin, and then they were running with phase ones. It was just awesome. We've seen it all before in the Clone Wars. But to see it in live action was brilliant. In fact, just as a quick note on the whole episode, they could have ended that episode there when they pulled her out of the water. And do you know what? I'm really sorry. I can't find my up-to-date Ahsoka, man. The one from Mandalorian season 2. This room is a mess, and I'll tell you one thing that the episode did for me. Well, it's not a complete mess, but I've got all these shelves dedicated to the Star Wars timeline, and that episode really inspired me to get my ass in gear, come in here and rejig everything. I've got the prequels, and I've got like the Clone Wars is expanding. We've had Bad Batch, we've had additional figures for Clone Wars and stuff like that, and all this stuff in Ahsoka that we're seeing, it all kind of feeds into that, as George Lucas said, the rich timeline or ground, fertile ground for writing and story. And then you saw another section of the Clone Wars again today, and it was brilliant. So I'm just saying that I would like to, I've been away in Florida, as you know, and I didn't get round to doing half the stuff I want to do on my shelves, but I will sort that out. But there's so much going on in the Clone Wars. I just loved seeing it in live action. It was brilliant. And then you saw this Jason character is interesting. I've got this is Ezra Bridger here, but he's got that kind of green hair. I don't want to overthink these things, but obviously you'd expect him to be half Twi'lek, wouldn't you, or something? But this guy Ezra, going back, this is the very first ever figure, and however Ezra looked when we first ever saw him, and he had a kind of a blue tint. Well, this young lad Jason, who was really interesting, his Force sensitivity, but he's got kind of like a green tint to his hair, and it just reminded me of a young Ezra Bridger. But still, I don't really know the ins and outs. I don't want to know too much about the biology of this Jason boy, but that was all interesting. The whole concept of the show, I love the intergalaxy jumping, it is, isn't it? It's cross galaxy, whatever you want to call it. It's like, say, if the Star Wars universe was on planet Earth, which is pretty true actually, you've got desert worlds, ice worlds, forests, jungles, blah, blah, blah. This story is a jump to another planet, The Star Wars universe, or the galaxy far, far away, is what it is. You've got Coruscant, you've got all the core worlds, whatever, the Outer Rim, that is planet Earth. And with this show, we would jump into another galaxy, which, as you know, is not going to be an easy job for the human comprehension, because what's Andromeda now? 2 million light years? So travelling at the speed of light, it would take you 2 million years to get there, for God's sake. So this whole concept of a hyperspace ring that can do the jump, amazing. And then these whales, that's fascinating. I mean, it just goes to show with science fiction, anything is possible. These whales have obviously taught humans how to do the hyperspace jumps anyway. But the fact that they can also do this cross-galaxy jump is fascinating. And what have I got here? I've got Chopper. Now, Chopper was cool just to see him stood next to Hera. That's one thing I don't have. I don't have a figure for Hera Syndulla. So that's good that we're getting a couple at least. We're getting one with the Ghost, and we're getting another one that's been announced for TVC. Speaking of which, I haven't actually got around to ever doing a video because I was away at the time for the new news, but I won't do it in this one. I just want to give you some thoughts on Ahsoka and get your thoughts as well. So after we saw the Clone Wars stuff, including seeing several battles, you saw also Hayden. You saw a little bit of this. You saw a bit of dark Anakin going on, waving a red lightsaber, which was new. They pulled and rescued Ahsoka out of the water. And then, as I say, they could have ended the episode there and I would have been satisfied. That would have been half an hour through. This was a 51-minute video or episode. Well, the timer had 51 minutes on it. So it was almost an hour. And then after that, after they rescued Ahsoka, she changed her look, by the way. She put some robes on and new robes. So it gave her a new look. And then what happened after that? We were exploring how we could follow Sabine. She, did some Force detective work and, heard the echoes of the cooks. It's amazing how they can do it. Obviously, it's science fiction. She could hear their conversations and she traced what happened. She knew that Sabine had left the galaxy and then she sussed out a way to follow them, which is via these whales, which was all fantastic, man. How are you finding it? I'm loving it. You know what I mean? Making sense to me. It's great. It's like, but the thing is, right, let's be honest here. If you aren't enjoying it, maybe you missed the boat on the animated series. If you're somebody who enjoyed the Clone Wars, as I did, you're going to like this because they took it to another level on many occasions, especially in season 3 of the Clone Wars. What with, Ghosts of Mortis and that whole concept was far out, man. And Lucas was working on all of that, so it legitimized it somewhat, but it was far out. Some of the ideas of the depth and of the Force that the direction they went was, I was living in Spain at the time. I was 30, and I was like, wow, man, it's deep, profound, imaginative. There's no limits, and there's no limits with this, but it's not too extreme that I'm disliking it. You know what I mean? It's gripping me, ladies and gentlemen. Just filming the same thing here. Wish I could find my bloody Ahsoka. Let me just show she's there! Bloody hell. Just found her. There she is. She's right there, man. She's cool, man. Look at that. Really good. She's doing a good job. Rosaria Dawson. Really liking this, man. So, we've got more figures to come, more stuff happening. The new figures that have been announced, by the way, the new news is a new Obi Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader from that planet at the end of Kenobi. And I'm just going to insert a separate voiceover here. This is a post-production voiceover, ladies and gentlemen, as I edit it. I do waffle on about the figures that have been announced today, but I'm going to show you some images now, and then I'm going to also talk about them in a separate video. Because there's other news and figures that have been released recently that I haven't even touched on my channel properly. So yeah, I'll show you the images in a separate video maybe, but here are some of the images now for you to just to sort of digest it, and you can leave me your thoughts below on that. But I think I'm going to do a proper TVC roundup of everything that's been new of late, last few weeks or month or so, in a separate video. But I'll be buying that because, well, I'll get the Vader loose, and then I'll also be able to get hold of that other Kenobi, because the titles of my channel have that Kenobi appearing quite a lot, which is a really good lightsaber fight, that. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. Dark, man. That was the best moment in the Kenobi series. This is a better series than that. So if you wanted me to rank, before I leave you now, ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted me to rank all the Star Wars series in order, I would go like this. Number 1, Andor. That show had me gripped. I was invested in that. Loved it. Then I'd say The Mandalorian. Seasons 1 and 2. Season 3. Ahsoka, right up there, man. I'd say that's above Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett right now. That's all I can say. I mean, we haven't finished with Ahsoka. Maybe this will get better and better. It's getting better and better as it is, in my opinion. I've not watched anybody's review on that last episode, but bet you any money that it will get better and better. It will finish well, hopefully, and then who knows, that might pip above Mando. I just don't know. Well, I don't know, man. Mandalorian was just so pure and great at the time. It will always be excellent. 1 and 2 anyway. But it's up there, man. I'd definitely say, from what we've seen so far of Ahsoka, I would put it above Kenobi and certainly above Book of Boba Fett. And that is it. And then, yeah, that's all I really want to say for now. It's just a little bit of waffle, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of waffle. Let me know how you are finding it. And I loved seeing Chopper cocking his head. And he was stood looking out at the ocean with Jason and Hera. And he had his head sort of cocked to one, side. I'm hoping that Hasbro will have it so it's a kind of a ball joint so we can cock it to the left or right like a dog. Yeah, you know what I mean? Anyway, thank you for watching that. The sun is setting, ladies and gentlemen. What a shame. I like filming in natural light, but soon it'll be too dark. I'll have to turn the lights on in here, but still, thanks for watching anyway. This has been Only One Kenobi, ladies and gentlemen. Only one. Out.